Motivation, you've heard about it. Everyone has their own secret recipe to success. Motivation is not motivation, it's discipline. It's not discipline, it's love. It's not love, it's just doing the hard work. I want to break everything down because I don't think there's a one size fits all. I think everyone has their own unique ways of getting things done. This is what worked for me. And my whole life, it's always been just defining things and trying to understand it to its fullest capability, to my fullest capability. I don't think I know a lot. I am only a feeble little human on this great big rock, and so I have a hard time understanding things sometimes. And so one of my favorite things to do is really give a definition and broaden out something, be it a word, a phrase, a concept, or an idea, broaden it out instead of narrow my vision on it. I want to broaden it out and I want to regress it down to the root, understand it. So motivation is strange because there's so many people that say you don't need motivation, you just need discipline, you just need to do the work. I kind of disagree because anyone who wakes up and just does the work is motivated by something. There is a motivating factor. There's an intrinsic underlying motivating factor that's actually helping them do whatever it needs, do whatever it is that has to be done. So everyone is motivated by something, but this is the difference. There's some people that just can do the work without needing to feel good, and there are some people that cannot do the work unless they feel good. Now, that's really what it is. It's not that this person doesn't need motivation, and it's not that this person needs discipline. They're both disciplined, they're both motivated under different circumstances. So I define motivation like this. Homage to Hormozy. Hormozy defines motivation as deprivation. So when you're deprived of something, you are immediately, by natural law, motivated to obtain whatever it is that you are deprived of. If you are thirsty, you are deprived of water, and so you are, by natural law, you are more inclined and motivated to find water to negate the thirst. And I love that definition. And so now if I regress it more, motivation is the acknowledgement of the lack of something accompanied with a desire for that thing that you lack, right? That would broaden out the definition of deprivation. So you can ask, well, what does it mean to be deprived? Well, it's that you acknowledge that you want something and that you don't have it, and so you now desire it, but you don't have that, hence the reason to desire it, which is why it goes hand in hand, motivation and deprivation. It's a phenomenal definition. Motivation comes like a wave, all at once. And I use this image because it helps me. Think of the ocean as it crashes onto the shore, and just as it crashes, it returns right back to source. That's with every emotion in life. Be it happiness, be it joy, be it pain, anger. It crashes in all at once. There's a moment where you'll feel extremely happy. There are moments where you'll feel extremely angry. You'll be in anguish, pain. There are moments where you'll feel a lot of joy. There are moments where you'll be extremely motivated. But you'll notice that motivation runs dry because it's predicated on an emotion. A desire for something creates this temporary field of ambition. And what propels the ambition can be different for a lot of people. It can be your pain. It can be your anger, your shame. It can be your love and your happiness. What propels you to become ambitious is subjective. I know in moments in my life, I used anger, shame, and pain as a propellant to make me ambitious. I was so deprived of something. I was so deprived of this and that. I was so deprived of not being successful. I was so deprived of not having the life I wanted that I became ambitious because I was so angry. And the anger was predicated on the pain that I felt because I did not have the life that I wanted. That was my propelling force. But motivation never stays. And then, well, you'll have some people say, well, it's discipline, right? If it's not motivation, it's discipline. Well, what does that mean? What is discipline? Well, I define discipline as repetitive and consistent actions that you take to achieve a desired goal. If you can take not steps, but if you can do the actions on a repetitive cycle, which means doing it over and over and over continuously. So you repeat that cycle. And these are the actions that you need to take to achieve a desired goal. You, in turn, are disciplined. Because regardless of how you feel, you do the action. Regardless of what occurs, you do the action. And if you can repeat that on a long enough time horizon, the goal shall be acquired. So that's why everyone says, well, discipline is important to achieve your goal. Yes, but what does that mean? It just means doing something over and over again, regardless of how you feel. So now that we've kind of understood motivation, which is being deprived of something, lacking something, acknowledging you lack something, which creates a desire for that thing. And we understand discipline, which is just repetitive actions on a continuous basis. Which one is more important? I think that it's important to scrap the idea that motivation is BS. Taking action when you feel motivation is BS. Motivation is always here. You are always inclined to do something. There's an intrinsic force of motivation that lies dormant. It's the reason why you keep going. It's the reason why you haven't put a bullet through your head. It's the reason why you're still here. You are motivated. Perhaps not the way you want to be, meaning you compare a previous form of motivation where you could run a marathon nonstop, where you could stay up all night and do deep work. You remember the peak of motivation. And so right now you're like, well, I want something, but I don't feel this. And so you say you're not motivated, but you are, hence the reason you continue to breathe. Your desire to draw breath and just have a goal alone and dream is your motivation. Now, it may not be the motivation you felt at one point, which was the peak, right? I spoke about in a lot of my videos where we are naturally inclined to identify what could go wrong and what we don't have, as opposed to what could go right and what we do have. It's because the way our brain works is we are so wired to be on the search for threats so that we can just survive, instead of be on the search for what is so that we can thrive. We're so adamant on just survival, scarcity, fear, as opposed to, well, what is available so that we can just be grateful and thrive. So here are some practical steps. Step one, understand that motivation's okay. You can use it. It's not BS. Everyone's motivated. Anyone that still keeps going is motivated. What they have acquired, perhaps, that you have not yet obtained or acquired, is the skill to do the actions that need to be done in order to achieve a goal despite how they feel. Now, you may be in a position where you need to feel good, or you want to feel relatively good in order to do something. I've also been there, where I've taken little to no action, and there was a period of my life where I did nothing because I felt so awful. There was a period of my life where I completely let go of happiness because it was so unavailable, and I predicated everything I did on whether or not I was happy. If I was happy, I would do. If I was not happy, I would not do. And this constant search for happiness was something that deeply, deeply just destroyed me. So I've been on both sides of the fence. I've been the person that needed to feel good, and I've been the person that, despite how terrible I feel, I will do what's necessary. But in both cases, I was still motivated. When I was doing nothing, I was my happiness was my motivation. Because it wasn't present, I was not doing anything. When I let go of happiness, my dream and my idealistic image of my future self was my motivating factor. It was the thing that made me keep going because I said, well, do it, because if you do this, you will become one step closer to becoming the future version of you. That became my motivating factor. I was still motivated. I just obtained a skill, which was I don't care how I feel. The job is going to get done, and I'm going to do everything I can to get it done. Here's how you can obtain that skill. Step 1, acknowledge why it's so difficult for you to not, or for you to do something when you feel unhappy. When you're unhappy, the reason it's so difficult is because you acquire the amount of energy that it takes to do something, right? When you're excited and adrenaline's pumping through your body and you're highly caffeinated or you're on go, it's really easy to do something like go train or do all your deep work. Now, when that plummets and that goes all the way down to zero, it's a lot more difficult because you don't have this propellant that just pushes you. But what's on the surface is the task, which to a degree is very simple. Like, let's just say, for example, you want to get in shape and you need to go to the gym. You want to go to the gym and you want to train. It's difficult because you understand it might be hard to get through this session. What's not difficult is you just showing up to the gym and doing a few mediocre sets, because at least you've done something. And the amount of input decreases, but that doesn't change anything because the task was go to the gym and train. You didn't really say train how hard, right? And so this goes into micro habits, micro steps that on a long enough time horizon converts to macro changes. I get it. Sometimes we really want to give it 100%, but the truth is we just can't. And if you can, hey, you're a beast. Hey, I'm not one of those people. I've had to devise countermeasures and I've had to devise tactics to really help me in moments where I just can't give it 100%. Is it because I truly couldn't? No, it's because I acknowledged all the things going wrong, which ended up restricting me from being able to do something. Step 1, don't focus on giving it 100%. Focus on just, if you can do 1%, celebrate. And I always say this in my videos. If you watch my old videos, I say that it's good to celebrate yourself, because what happens is when you celebrate and you reward yourself, you can reinstate this behavior, which on a long enough time horizon creates a permanent behavior change. Dogs respond well to reward, not punishment. So if you wake up and you only gave it 20% today and you punish yourself because you're like, damn, I could have went harder, you may not be so inclined to try tomorrow because you see today as failure. But if you say, well, 20% is a lot better than 0%, you are inclined to try tomorrow because you're like, well, dude, I gave it 20% today. Maybe tomorrow I can give it 25%. Don't always expect to be able to give it 100%. Now, I'm not saying that this is your cue to just take it easy and be easy on yourself. No, I mean, if you aren't where you want to be, if you are not who you truly want to be, if you haven't become the person that you're proud of, it's go mode. It's time to push, time to crank. It's time to reach into the depths of your soul, sum up every ounce of strength and courage that it takes to just freaking step outside. Like, I get it. I've been there, to where stepping outside took every ounce of courage within me. It was tough. I get it. Start with just saying, if I can give it 1%, it's better than 0. A gain is better than a loss. And a gain is always better than nothing, right? Money made is always better than no money made, regardless of how much money was made. As long as it's green, it's better than zero, right? So shift that. Lessen the load on yourself by not demanding so much of yourself. If you're someone that can supply that demand, meaning if you demand 100% and you know you can back it up and you can give it 100%, okay, do that. But if you're someone that can't supply the demand, then just say, well, at least 1% is good enough. And you'll be more naturally inclined to give it 2% the next day, 3% the next day, 4, 5, and so on and so forth. Understand that motivation is normal. We're all motivated to behave, act, and do certain things. That's our why. That's each human's unique and special why. It's why we keep living. It's why we keep smiling. It's why we keep trying to go forward. That's your why. That is your motivation. It may not be in the dose that you want it to be in, where you're highly amped up and you're on go, but it's there. Homage to Hormozy again, but he says, the real work starts when you don't want to do it. If you're amped, if you're excited to do something, if you can't wait to do something, and then you wake up fired up and you just can't wait to get out of bed and just go, that's not the work. That's just the excitement phase. It's kind of like the butterfly phase of meeting someone new. And then the butterfly phase dies off, right? You meet someone new, the relationship is good, you see the real sides of them, and you get comfortable. You guys are so used to seeing each other, and that phase dies off. Now you're sick of seeing them. Now that's when the real difficulties start, because now you're tempted, right? You may find other people attractive. You see all the wrong things about them, not all the good like you once saw. And it's the same thing with this. When you're amped up, you're thinking of all the possibilities, like, oh my gosh, I can't wait for things to go right. And then, well, you get a dose of reality. And what happens is now it's like, well, what about all the things that can go wrong? Okay, I'm not so amped anymore. Damn, I have to do the same thing again tomorrow? Oh my gosh, I'm not seeing any progress. And then in these moments, you'll be naturally inclined to just say, well, screw it. I'll just stop. To prevent yourself from stopping, it's good to set up countermeasures. So instead of stopping, just focus on not giving it 100%. On a day where you're like, okay, I want to just not do anything today, just say, let me do something instead of doing nothing. So I do this a lot when it comes to just physical fitness, okay? If I don't really have the energy or the strength or the courage to go through an intense training session, all I'll do is sit in the sauna. All I have to do is drive and sit down. And that is easy. So anytime where I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna train, instead of just be lazy, I'll do something which is still lazy. Sitting in a sauna, to me, is still lazy, but still difficult because I have to deal with the intensely high temperature of the freaking rocks. And that, to me, is pretty hard. And so I'm still putting myself through something difficult, which reinstates this idea that, hey, you can do hard things, but in doses, and it's a lot better than zero. And so it's micro. And so the next day, when I feel better, I'm like, okay, I get to celebrate the day before, because the day before I didn't do nothing. I did something. Find the path of least resistance and do it the day where you feel like you have zero or nothing left in the tank. In moments where you have nothing left in the tank, it's not your cue to just stop. It's your cue to just say, what about just going on a walk? Can I just go on a walk? Can I just get some sunlight? Can I listen to an audiobook? Let's do something that I know will end up helping me progress and make the journey of progression just a tad bit easier. Is that possible? Can I do that? Is there a possibility that I can do anything else besides nothing? And if there is a possibility, and there remains a possibility, then that's your cue to just find something to do. Motivation isn't something you need to focus on again. What you need to focus on is being able to do whatever is necessary despite how you feel. Your feelings, like, dictate a lot of what you do. It doesn't have to be that way, right? We feel amped, we do a lot. We feel down, we do little. The ones that really go far are the ones that say, I feel like garbage today, but I'm still gonna do everything I have to get done. It may not be 100%, but damn it, I'm still gonna try and I'm gonna do it. And then, strangely enough, those are the days that you celebrate the most. It's days where you have nothing left in the tank, where you're depleted, where you go home and you're on the bed like, dude, today was a long day. Those are actually the most celebrated days, because you look back on those days and those are the most rewarding, because you did the most. In moments where you could have done nothing, you chose to do something. So those become the most rewarding, those become the most pleasant days, surprisingly enough, but just on a long enough time horizon, which is why hindsight is always 2020. We look back on our past and we're like, oh, that's why I had to meet that person. That's why I had to go through those things. That's why I had to become this person. That's why I had to go through that pain, right? It's hard to see it now in the current moment. It's like we're so blinded by all these stimulants and we're so blinded by all the things that are happening in our lives, and it's so chaotic and it's so hectic that we're just like, oh my gosh, I just want to stop. But just look back in moments where you felt this already, where you felt exactly how you felt now. Remember those moments where you wanted to give up, where it was so hard, but you didn't. And you just ended up making it through some way, somehow. Similar to that time, you'll make it through this moment. But right now, this is where you have to sum up a lot of strength. And you have to say, I have to do what's necessary. Doesn't mean I have to give it 100%. I just have to do what's necessary. And if I can do what is necessary alone, that is much better than doing absolutely nothing. It'll always be better than nothing. Moments where I don't really have the brain power to make these long form videos, I say, well, instead of trying to crank out 4, 5, 6 of them in a row back to back, that's usually how I do it. When I do these long form videos for you guys, I have an idea of the topic I wanted to speak about. I kind of regress it down quickly in my head, points of discussions, and I press record and I go. And as you guys can tell, they're anywhere from 35 minutes to at least an hour long. They're long form, and so I do a lot of talking back to back. After one video, I'll move on to the next topic, and I'll try to bang them out by the 4, 5, 6 load. And sometimes I just don't have the brain capacity. It gets a little bit tiring. I'm not complaining. I'm highly blessed that you guys watch my videos and you guys support me and you guys are inspired by some of the things that I talk about, and I am truly blessed that I'm able to help you guys in some way, shape, or form. So it's not me complaining. But when I can't bear that load, I'll just say, well, at least if I do one video, it's good enough. It's better than not doing any. Or if I do 2 videos, it's a lot better than doing nothing, right? And so it's micro. And I've adopted this framework recently, which is I don't have the strength. It's not that I lack a belief in myself. It's just that I have a track record of just not being able to sum up the strength and courage. And so micro habits lead to macro changes. And I've tried to see it far. Like, okay, dude, if I can do this every day for a year, like, dude, I will be a lot different in a year. It's not about intensity. It's about repetition. So an example is, let's say you train. Let's say you're in the gym, and out of a month, you train really hard once a week, versus the person that trains mediocre, like medium level intensity to low intensity, but that person does it every day. I'd argue that that person who does it every day will be a lot farther along than you who does like explosive intensities when they feel like it. Micro habits create macro changes. We want to feel good to do things. But winners are made where you don't feel good, but you still do things. And the unmotivated part occurs when you realize that you cannot give it 100%. You imagine you doing it, and you can vividly see, I cannot give it 100%. And so you say, I'd rather just not today. If you can shift that to say, if I can give it 1%, that's a whole lot better than 0. That compounds over time. Promise. So it's good to define things. Like I said, I define things because it helps me understand the world a lot more. I've been highly motivated, I've been highly unmotivated, I've been disciplined, and I've lacked discipline. And I've had to strategically devise countermeasures. And so if you ever hear some of my concepts or ideas and you're like, wow, that's so helpful, it's because I've been weak. It's because I've had to figure out what the heck can I do with this weak body. My gosh, I got to figure something out. It's just because I've had to find ways to not fail. As opposed to find tools to win, I've had to find ways to not fail. And so I have something called the 5 pillars. I don't coin the term, but it's my 5 pillars to get things done. Step 1 would be a desire. Accompany your desire with an intense emotion, which creates the 3rd pillar, motivation. Motivation opens the door, the windows of opportunity for you to take action. Repetitive practice of that action creates discipline. And so technically it's 3 pillars. Desire something, feel deep emotion for it, take action, and just repeat that action. Pillar 3, pillar 5. Pillar 3 is motivation. Pillar 5 is discipline. I'll run you through it one more time. Step 1, create a desire for something. Whatever it is that you want, understand that, okay, I want this thing. Now tie a deep emotion to it. So for example, when I was younger, I wanted to be extremely successful and well known. And I had the desire because I would remember an emotion where I stepped away from family for a long time. And finally I came back to meet my family, and I had a conversation with one of my aunts, my auntie, and she was just really pressing me, like, what do you want to do? And I try to stay private because I just know that sometimes telling people that don't dream big, your grandiose plans, to them is just a dream. And so I let off the pedal a little bit, and I gave her what she wanted. I was like, well, I don't know what I want to do, but I know by this, I want to do this. She was like, no, impossible. And so in my younger days, I had the desire, and I remembered that like deeply, and the pain I felt, which amplified my desire, which creates motivation, right? Desire accompanied with a deep emotion tied together with that desire creates your motivation. And that motivation, it opens the window of opportunity for you to take action, because now you're pumped with adrenaline. You are ready to take that dream and pull it into reality to the best of your potential, to the best of your capabilities. And so you have now the window of opportunity to take action. But that's a singular action. That means you do it once. It doesn't mean that you'll repeat it. So repetition of that action on a long enough time horizon, which we call discipline, creates the 5 pillars to getting things done. And so if you can just do 1, 2, and 4, you completely remove 3 and 5. No need for motivation, no need for discipline. Desire something, attach a memory to it, a memory that provokes a lot of emotion, that strikes you. You feel pain, anger, shame, happiness, joy, whatever it is. Attach that to your desire. Take action and try your best to do it again tomorrow. And again and again and again, which is the hard part, which is constantly doing something. what has helped me in moments where I'm repetitively doing the same thing over and over is I've completely let go of my desire to live for me. My prayer when I go to sleep and when I wake up is, God, just use me for something greater than me. Use whatever the heck this is, this whatever I am. I don't know. Just use it for something greater than me and use it to help. It used to be hey God, please give me this, please give me what I want, but I just don't care anymore. Believe it or not, if you watch my videos, you'll see how open I am about my failures. To me, it could be embarrassing, but I choose it, and I choose to tell it because I know it's inspiring. And I've hoped that if you watched my videos long enough that you've seen my authenticity, and I hope that I've gained your trust to be as authentic as possible in a world full of people that are not who they say they are. I hope that when you watch me through this screen, you can truly believe I am who I say I am. That I don't really care about my life. I just want to help you somehow. The person watching me right now through this screen, you. And to help you, I have to become the best version of me to inspire you. And I had to go through failures to help you avoid my stupidity and to inspire you, to show you that no matter what you're going through, magic will find those with pure hearts even when all seems lost. That if you have a desire, it was not created by you, but it was given to you by something greater than you. And that if you can just follow the steps to do something, you'll get the outcome. You just have to do what's necessary. So don't wait to be motivated. It's already there. It's underlying. You have it. It's time for you to learn how to take action despite how you feel. And you can do that by not being hard on yourself for not giving it 100%, but rewarding yourself for giving it 1%. Reward is a positive feedback loop, which makes doing the same thing again tomorrow a lot easier because you expect reward. So if you give it 2%, you will also reward yourself. Everything I do, it's because I don't want you to feel how I felt the past 2 years. The past 2.5 years were some of the toughest times for me around some people that sometimes I knew I shouldn't have been around. The past 2 years have been misunderstanding, ridicule, judgment, mistakes, and failures. And when you are dealt those judgments and to that degree of ridicule, and when you're dealt that from the people that you least expect it from, it's most painful. Everything I do is to let you know that you are not alone. From someone who gets it, I've been there. And if someone like me screwed up with no sense of direction, with no idea what to do with his life, with no idea where to take his life, if someone like me somehow freaking survived, I am telling you, you will too. And it was never me. It was God pulling me by the neck every day, just lifting me up and saying, walk. All I did was plant my feet. God just pulled my whole body, man. And this is coming from someone who was an atheist and didn't believe in God. I have no choice but to believe in God now. I can't explain some of the things that happened in my life. Magic will find you if you have a pure heart. And it's not over. The harder it becomes, the better the story. Imagine how epic your story is gonna sound when you get past this and you get to tell people, like, dude, I experienced that. It was awful. And they're gonna be like, how did you make it through? And you get to tell them your story and you'll inspire them. Exactly how I'm able to do with you now. Somehow inspire you. And I just had to go through that period of darkness, of soul-eating, flesh-devouring pain, where the people around me I would have died for, but they would not have done the same. Where the people I cared about, they only cared about them. Where the people I would have suffered for would never have done the same for me. Where the people that I tried to understand deeply didn't really give a damn to understand me. Where the people that I sacrificed for just wouldn't have done the same. I've been negatively judged. I've been ridiculed by people, misunderstood, been called a failure. And I still stand here before you to let you know that you're not alone. And motivation didn't get me here, nor did discipline. It was something greater than me. But that's not enough, which is why I try to define things and give you practical steps. Don't lose hope, man. I think everything we do is to cling on to hope. We believe in certain things because we hope for something. We do things because there's this desire that maybe all of this isn't for nothing. And it isn't. So if you want to conquer this deep, depressive state of you not growing yet, don't just act when motivation comes in abundance. Act when you feel terrible. And what'll help you act is by not punishing yourself for not being able to give it 100%. Reward yourself for even giving it 1%. If you have a task that you have to do and you just know there's no way you can do it to 100%, just do it to 1% and immediately reward yourself for doing that. If you have to write an essay and there's no way you could kill the essay, write a sentence, close your laptop and say, I at least wrote a sentence, which is better than writing nothing. And you'll probably just realize how easy it was to write a sentence, and you'll end up writing a paragraph. And then maybe you'll just end up writing the whole essay. Solitude. Be comfortable with it, but don't love it. We're not meant to be alone in this world. That's not the goal. Lone wolves eat scraps. You're meant to have good people by your side. If you're a young man, you're meant to have good men by your side and a wonderful woman that will love you and adore the heck out of you. If you're a woman, you're meant to have good women by your side, and you're meant to have a man love you and adore the heck out of you and be so deeply in love to you and deeply in love with you and sacrifice everything for you. But it takes time to meet those people, so be okay with being alone. Don't fall in love with solitude and isolation. Because the more in love you fall with that, the more you desire to be alone instead of having people by your side. And the true beauty of the human experience is to have people by your side that you can share experiences with, that you can laugh with. that you can smile with, that you can look back and be like, man, you remember when we went through this time and this time. That's the true beauty of life. You have the most friends when you're the worst version of yourself, so you're not stupid. There are people in your life that you need to get away from right now, but you're scared of the outcome. You want to keep them here, but you just don't want to, because you want to keep them close and you're just scared of what they'll say about you, but you know they're poison. Just get away from them and your life will change. You get away from poisonous people and things just get better. You get better. Your life transforms. You meet new people that you couldn't even imagine meeting. And everything falls into place. I had to get away from poisonous people, and to them, I was also poisonous. I'm not the holy child, God-sent human. I'm a messed up dude, man. I was poisonous to some people. They had to get away from me, and they were poisonous to me, and I had to get away from them. And everything just ends up working for the better. And I'm so much better now than I was 2 years ago, and I've met so many great people that I truly enjoy being around, as opposed to being in an environment where I just couldn't stand being around those people. Get out of that environment. What's the worst that can happen? Make the future you proud. It's the only person that matters. Future you. Make that person proud. Do it for him or do it for her. If you're a man, do it for him. If you're a woman, do it for her. Future you. Take actions, take steps to make the 90-year-old version of you proud. And if you can do that, you'll go a long way. Don't be so tough on yourself. You've come a long way. If you haven't come a long way, yes, triple down on toughness. Like you need to demand more of your life. You haven't done enough. And well, you can define, should I cut myself some slack, by the following questions. Question 1 is, would the younger version of you be proud of who you are now? If the answer is no, then you have more growing to do. There's no need to cut yourself slack. It's time to add some pressure. If the answer is yes, that means you've come a long way and you've made younger you proud. So you can let off the pedal just a little bit to just really soak in everything that you are now. All the experiences that made you who you are. The second question is, would future you be proud of who you are now? If the answer is no, step on it. No slack, nothing, just pressure. You're not there yet. Do not take it easy on yourself, not yet. If the answer is yes, and future version of you is proud of current you, soak it in. You've done a good deal, and you've made it far. Soak it in. Magic will find those with pure hearts even when all seems lost. That's one thing I can promise you. In a world full of people that are out for themselves, wouldn't ever help people in need, would watch people drown. I'm telling you, there's hope, and there's some good people out there. When you turn cold, the world wins. And I've been there where I've turned cold and I let the world win. Do not make my mistake. Love, kindness, but have a strength. Don't just have this love and kindness and lack the strength. No, have this love and kindness and back it up with this strength and this resiliency of brute force. And you'll win. Don't do it to prove X, Y, and Z wrong. You don't want to be anything like them anyway, so don't do it to prove them wrong. Don't do it to impress them. You don't want to be like them. Do it for you. Do it for future you. This is your sign to get away from the people in your life that you know are poison. Do it now before it eats you alive and it kills you. Do it now before it's too late and you die. They will kill you. Their mindset, how they carry themselves, their hearts, it will swallow you whole. I've been there. And in the midst of all of that, somehow, I was the bad guy. Don't let it be too late. I was blessed enough to have it ripped from me to save me. Because if not, I would have lost my sanity. You're gonna win, whoever's watching this. I know you will. You're gonna figure it all out. You're gonna take care of your mother, your father, your brother, your sister, your family. You're gonna represent your last name and make your bloodline proud. You're gonna do it so big to where people have no choice but to compare themselves to you because you're just that good. And you don't even think about them. In a world full of darkness, you will be the beacon of hope for those that are in need and in search of light. But in order to become that, you must be ready for ridicule, judgment, people throwing dirt on your name. The people that you would have died for, you have to be ready for them to not do the same. Get ready to be viewed as the criminal, as the enemy. Get ready to be judged. Prepare for it. Prepare to be the rare. It's part of it. Either take it head on or back down from the fight, but I don't believe you'll back down. You're already here. Might as well fight. Good luck to you. Again, take action despite how you feel. And it'll be easier if you reward 1% instead of punish lack of 100%. Big things are happening. And you know what you have to do. So do it. One step at a time. And if you need some type of guidance, then ask me in the comments and I'll make a video on it. I read your guys' comments. If you ever want me to make a video or discuss something and hear what I have to say about something, ask. I'll do it. I'll do it for you. Everything I do is for you. Everything. It's not for me. If it is for me, it's because I know that I'm going to die one day, and this is all that's going to be left. But it's for you. To let you know you're not alone. So win, and meet me at the top. Peace out.